My father came to England in 1952. Before that, he went for farm work in America. And when he went to America and he came back to Jamaica, back to agriculture, he thought, no, there's more to life than working the soil. So he thought he'd like to come to England where they're doing making aeroplanes and cars and things like that. And then he first started working as a miner. And he left the mines and he was doing haulage. He was working in Newport in Wales. And then he came back to Nottingham and worked as a miner until when he opened the shop. My father carried on working down the mine and working part-time, but my mother was in the shop full-time. Putting all the fresh fruit out for the customers. It's a nice bit of here. My father bought his first house in 1956, and he bought a 6-bedroom Victorian house in Lenton, Nottingham. Mortgages wasn't very easily obtained, but they used to, with our partner and things, people used to save money up. That was how people saved to help to send for their families and things like that. One day my father, in the 60s, he sold his car and he lodged his money in the Barclays Bank, and the Friday evening 2 men, plainclothes men, officers, came to the house to ask him where he got the money to put in the bank. In them days, I don't think black people were supposed to have that much money or whatever. I'm not sure how much it was, but yeah, they watched you if you had a lot of money. The first shop was set up in 1960, and that was at Willoughby Street, where the flats were, which in the high-rise flats that have now been flattened, smaller housings now. But in the 60s, that was all the rage. My parents opened a shop at Foster Street in Radford, but it was a small shop and it wasn't a good location for them. They opened a shop in Union Road in St Anne's, and when we were at Union Road, I remember for my 11th birthday, my father bought me a rally bike, and I remember this rally bike, it was blue and it had orange mud guards, but I was really happy with my bike. And my brother Trevor had a bike, and we used to go and collect grocery books every Wednesday evening when we came home from school. We'd have something to eat, and then that was it. We were riding from Union Road, which was in St Anne's, to Lenton, to Forest Fields, and back to the shop. And we used to collect the grocery books, and we also sometimes had to sit down and write the groceries out for some people that couldn't read and write properly. And they were there for many years. Then opened this one in Ilkeston Road in 1975. After that, my father stayed in this shop, and then my brother Trevor was in the shop at Alfreton Road. Colin joined the business. My dad went to school to see the careers teacher with Colin, and the careers teacher said that he's got a job for Colin to work at a scrapyard. And my dad said no. When Colin left school, Colin and my dad worked the mobile business, and they used to go around to people's houses and deliver groceries. He's not going to let his child work so hard and then to send him to go to work at a scrapyard. I had the van, had it put out, and customer could go in and pick up whatever they wanted, their rice or whatever West Indian food that was delivered to their door. He wanted better for his son, so that was it. They went all over: Forestfield, Lenton, Radford, St Anne's, Carlton, Sherwood. Wherever a black person family lived, they were there. He's opened a larger shop on Alfreton Road and doing very well. I've got another brother called Gary. He also went into business, and he was on Carlton Road many years ago, he and his wife, and they were very successful, but they gave it up. I'm really proud of my family. I'm really I mean, as you mentioned the name Mitchell in Nottingham, people know exactly who you are, whether they're black, white, Chinese, Asian, and they have a lot of respect for my father, because he was a very good man. He was a people's person. And we used to have a delivery guy that used to come to us, and he always used to have a nibble at everything that we sell. Hello, darling. Hi, and he said to my dad, "Mr. Mitchell, what are these?" And my dad said, "Jamaican strawberries." And he says, "Oh, did they taste all right?" He says, "Bite it." And he bit it, and he went all different colours. Couldn't believe it. Definitely a people's person, and very kind. Dad was the first person to bring Excelsior water crackers to England, and he just happened to be on the wharf that day when the gentleman that owned Enco came along and said, "Mr. Mitchell, what are you doing here?" And he says, "Oh, I've just ordered some biscuits." Next minute, he's ordered more biscuits. And as I said, helping people, especially when they were trying to buy their own house and things like that, and they didn't have sufficient funds, and borrow, as I said, and have partners and things. And he used to help each other, and he used to give them advice as well. My dad's he's been dead for the last 11 years, but people still talk about him. Yeah, look at that. He's nice, yeah. Because if you go in the supermarket, you can get everything under one roof, so you just pick it up while you're there. But you have got your core customers that will come to you. We do support local people with like the drinks or making the drops and things like that, coconut drops, etc. Also the allotments when they bring in their callaloo and their red beans and things like that. We do support them. We've been here for so long. We have people from all different walks of life in here. West Indians, you've got the Asian people, and you've got the students. They do come in as well because they're not sure how to cook the food, so they just come and they ask, and you give them advice and things like that and different recipes. The majority of the West Indian families have moved out. You'll probably find one or two, but it's mostly the elderly that's left. Also a lot of the Asians, Indians especially, they've moved out. It's all student accommodation, which hasn't been good for the area in a sense, because like the schools, all the community things like the schools and so on, they've closed down because there's not enough children there to support it. The government have tried now. They've built a few new houses around and so on and started to put families in. But I mean, this has been going on for the last 15 years. We've lost a lot of the community. There's not a community spirit anymore. No.